we've been looking at the life of Balaam and kind of how Balaam has been interacting with the one God that reigns, the Most High God, the God of Israel. And one thing that is clear to me, and it comes from the testimony of the Torah itself, all right, is that Balaam had a radical, life-changing, listen to me carefully, a radical, life-changing experience with the God of Israel. Changed his life, changed his perspective. This is a guy that experienced all these elements that we see wrapped in the grace message, where you talk about people confessing faith in the Messiah Yeshua. You talk about people changing their hearts, that if that doesn't please you, Lord, well, you know what? Then I will turn back. I will go back. Talk about people getting the anointing of God, experiencing these types of things. All of those things, all of those beautiful elements of the gospel are on Balaam. This is real. His experience with the Lord, his heart for the Lord, him confessing the Lord, him saying, I'm not going to go beyond your word. That's real. And if you don't get that part, nothing else that we talk about today is even going to mean anything. Unfortunately, as we continue today, Balaam's not going to hold it together. He's just not. And this is what makes this story so frightening. This is what makes this story so relevant as I look at a church being ripped to shreds. It's given itself to compromise with each passing day more and more. And so this is a message, as I said before, this is a message that needs to be heard today. This is a message independently we need to hear. And we left off at chapter 24. And basically what happened is it came to a crescendo. The story hit that tipping point with Balak was so upset. He's just done with Balaam. He called Balaam to curse Israel, and all he can do is bless him over and over and over again. So now you've blessed him these 3 times. You know, Balaam, I said I'd honor you, but I'm not gonna. And Balaam responds, he's like, what did you think was gonna happen? Honestly, I told you could give me your house filled with silver and gold. And guess what? I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord. And this is where we pick the story up. Balaam, further in response to Balak, says, come with me. I'm going to show you what's going to happen to your people. This is what's going to happen. And Balaam lays one more prophecy on Balak. Now, if Balak wasn't mad enough and frustrated enough, oh, this is a doozy. Because now he gets into a prophecy that says, you know, a star is going to rise out of Jacob, a scepter out of Israel. And what is he going to do? This is a prophecy of the Messiah Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth. He's going to come and he's going to batter the brow of Moab. And so basically the word that Balaam leaves with Balak, after Balak just chews him out, was, you know what? Balak, you're as good as dead. The Messiah is going to rise and he himself is going to destroy you. Well, after he gets done with this prophecy, we're going to go to the last verse in the chapter. All right? And the last verse, it says this. So Balaam rose and departed and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. Please pay attention to this. Last verse in chapter 24. It's pretty unambiguous, right? I mean, it just basically says they're going to part ways. Balaam's going to go his way, and Balak's going to go his way. However, the very next verse we read is this. Check this out. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove. Oh, and the people, meaning Israel, began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. What? Now, hold on a second. Okay, so first things first, who's the king of Moab? Balak. That's the guy that has declared Israel his enemy. That's the guy that is out to destroy Israel. Now, like I said before, if it was my first time going through the Torah, and I just got done reading chapter 24, and they went and they parted their ways, Balaam said his piece, and this is the deal. Guess what I'm not thinking is going to happen? This, where Israel literally is basically, you're dealing with like a 1407 BC Woodstock. I did not expect Israel to go and party and fornicate with them. Who expected that? This is insane. The world is flipped upside down. And if that weren't bad enough, it goes on. They, meaning the Moabites, invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods. Oh, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal of Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. So let me get this straight. Okay, so from chapter 24, the very end, they're just separating. The very next thing we read is Israel has given itself in harlotry to the women of Balak's kingdom. And now we're told that they are also worshiping the gods that Balak worships. What did I miss? I missed something between the end of chapter 24 and the first verse of 25, because there's obviously a significant bit of information there. There has to be. You can't go from there to here. And so here's the beauty. We actually get what happened, that little significant piece of information, as we go to Numbers chapter 31. And so we're going to jump ahead, and we're going to try to fill the gap here. And the Lord spoke to Moshe, saying, take vengeance on the Midianites for the children of Israel. Afterward, you shall be gathered to your people. Now, this is the Lord basically declaring, hey, because of what they did to you, because they allured you and seduced you, go kill them all. Take them out. And so we move to verse 8. They killed the kings of Midian with the rest of those who were killed. Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. And this is where we get to the meat of the matter. Balaam, the son of Beor, they also killed with the sword. Has everyone lost their mind? Because I was back in 24, everything seemed to be put in order. Israel's getting blessed. Israel's impenetrable. They're powerful. Okay, things look good. Balak is totally powerless. He can't do anything. The next thing I read is Israel's fornicating. They're bowing down to false gods. And now Balaam's getting killed. How does this make sense? This is a guy that was blessing Israel. And last time I checked in Genesis, when you bless Israel, you're blessed. This doesn't look like a blessing to me. There's a lot of stuff going on here. What happened? Well, we continue. We're going to drop down to verse 15. And we read, and Moshe said to them, have you kept all the women alive? Look, these women caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to trespass against the Lord in the incident of Peor. Why is Balaam dead? Why did Israel kill him? Because he is the culprit. It all began with him. He went and counseled the Midianite women, the Moabites, that this is what you need to do. You need to go out and allure them and seduce them. And what is the payment of that? What did Israel expect? Well, this was it. And there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. 24,000 wiped out. There's a lot of questions that need to be asked. And number one is, what in the world happened to you can't curse Israel? What happened to that? What happened that there's no witchcraft or divination against Israel? What happened to the Lord's promises that he has given to Israel? The untouchable has become touchable. The unbreachable has become breached. How is this possible? And this is something you want to pay attention to because it applies to every single one of us today. There is no witchcraft. There is no divination against Israel. Will not happen. Dark spirits, dark powers, they cannot override the protection, the promises, the faithfulness of God. Never happen. So what happened? Listen to this. The invitation. They didn't use witchcraft. They didn't use will. They didn't use might. They didn't use sword. They didn't use tank, spear, whatever. They didn't go to war against them. They invited them to come and fornicate. It was an invitation. And it wasn't until Israel yielded. They yielded to that invitation. How demonic and frightening is that? God's promise holds fast. Now, keep in mind, the rest of Israel, let's be honest, untouchable. They didn't lose a hair. Why? They stayed faithful. They stayed under the grace of God. They stayed under the protection of God. But God has given us free will, and you can walk out of that free will. When you yield to all those little invitations that you're going to get from Hasatan, the devil's going to give you invitation after invitation, and he's got your number. That's the thing I despise so badly. And so many people that I pray with, he's got every one of your numbers because he knows your Achilles heel. He knows where you're weak. And where do you think he's going to hit you? He's going to hit you right at your weakest spot. The same tactic that the devil took against Israel, he first took against Balaam. That's what he did. He gave Balaam an invitation. Now, if you remember that invitation, we already know what it is. See, when Balak came on the scene and offered him riches beyond his wildest imagination and offered him the glory of men, that was quite an offer. Some would say that's irresistible. And somewhere between 24 and 25, the enemy keeps playing that over and over again. This is what you had on the table. Oh, this is what you turned away from? You could have had it all. How many of you can relate every single day you get up that you start wrestling the flesh against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh? How many times, you talk about certain people that deal with addictions, whether it's alcohol addiction, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's sex addiction, all of these types of things. All they hear all day in their mind, they're playing this through. If they're not drinking, they're dreaming about drinking. If they don't got a needle in their arm, they're only thinking about how can I get that next needle in my arm. Do you understand how this works in the attack on the heart and in the mind? The devil has your number. He's going to hit you every time where it hurts. And there is only one place of safety, and that is Yeshua. End of discussion.
Hey there, this is Mike at Corner Fringe Ministries. Thanks for watching our video. If you liked the video or it encouraged you, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the share. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. Now, if you want to watch the rest of this video, hit the button here. And if you want to watch the rest of this series, you can check it out here. And don't forget, you can download the Corner Fringe Ministries app today on any of your Play stores. Thanks for joining us at Corner Fringe Ministries.